Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the CODEX Station Slabbed, where we talk about everything slabbed. My name is Sal. But the guy next to me on this side is West Rebel Scum, and down below is Tim the Terrible. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing very good,
Awesome.
Sal. How are you?
How are you
Awesome,
guys?
awesome, very good. So, as always, you can find me on the CODEX Station, but you can also find me on Sal's Comic Corner on YouTube. And for Wes and Tim, you can always find them here on the CODEX Station. They've done lots of videos, and you got to check them out. All right, but tonight we're talking about slabs, the where, the how-tos, the what to do, how to buy, where to sell. But tonight we're covering fair market value, the FMV of all the books that you want to figure out. You want to talk about what it is, how we're going to determine it, and what factors we use to calculate it. All right. So, but first, we're going to do our sponsor, which is W Energy. So check out W Energy by going to WGG and using the code word CODEX. That's COD-X, and you can save 10% on checkout. Definitely got to check out that energy drink.
Absolutely, guys.
Okay. So our first topic, what is FMV? What does it mean? What does it stand for? And it stands for fair market value. And what fair market value is, it's really basically boiled down to brass tacks. This is what the book is selling for at this current snap in time. So it could be more in the future, could be less in the future. But for today, right now, this book is selling for X amount of dollars. Okay. So how does one determine it? I think we're going to jump over here to Wes, and I'll let you kick off, Wes, is how you determine fair market value.
Well, look, we have chosen a hobby that has a market. The hobby that we chose is not frisbee golf or or
Frisbee
paintball.
golf. Yep.
It has a market. It ebbs and flows just like the stock market. I
Ain't
guess.
that the truth?
So, and the same thing with the stock market. There's it comes in waves, and for me, what I guess the question is how do I determine fair market value for a book that I have or a book that I want? And for me, since I do probably a little bit more reselling than you guys do, I use multiple factors. Everybody talks about the coverprice.com and the gocollect.com and the eBay, heritage, all that good stuff. I use all of it. What I generally do, let's say I have just a basic filler book. It's, whatever. I'm going to take that book and I'm going to go look at cover price for a quick reference. But cover price a lot of times will have mistakes. So I will then cross-reference that with one of the other sites. If it's a raw book, I'll go to eBay and I'll look at eBay solds, not what they're listed for. That's the key, right, guys? I mean, because
Right.
I can ask $1 million for it. Doesn't mean it's going to sell for it. So
Now correct me if I'm wrong, Wes. You can find that sold and closed listings in their menu option off to
yes,
whatever side that is.
that's
correct?
right. Go, yeah,
Okay.
you go to eBay and you look and you click sold and completed items. And in theory, up should pop a whole list of things that have recently sold or the most recent things that have sold on eBay.
You can
Then,
see a large fluctuation there too.
absolutely,
sometimes.
you will.
Yeah.
So, and that's why, for me, let's say I'm going to sell something in my booth, and it's just a common book, but it's maybe it's a cool book, but it's common. I'm going to take it and I'm going to say, okay, eBay, the last 5 things sold for $4, $4.50, $4.15, best offer, whatever. I'm going to take that and I'm going to go back over to cover price and see what they said about it. And I'm going to take the average. And then for me in my booth, I'm generally going to probably subtract about 20 or 30%. And that's kind of what I'm going to tack on that book. And that's not even including those people probably paid shipping. So in reality, generally it's a good deal for my customers, anyways. And then let's say I'm doing a bunch of books, like a whole stack of them. I'm going to go, okay, that whole entire run looks like it sells for about $3 a comic. There's a $2 comic for me. So a lot of times it's just going to be one of those things where I don't have time to cross-reference everything. Now, if we're talking about a big book, I will absolutely cross-reference. I'll go to all 2 or 3 of those sites Go Collect is just for slabbed books. Cover Price is for both raw and slabbed. I do like Cover Price a lot, but I've also found a lot of mistakes on Cover Price where you'll pull a book up. I wished I had pulled one out for an example so you guys can go look as I'm speaking. But you'll pull a certain book up and you'll go, "What? $20 raw or $30 raw? What?" I'll then go to eBay and say, try to find that sale because Cover Price draws.
Wes, I got a great example as you're talking. I'm going to bring it up right now.
Do it.
And I'll go to eBay and I'll find that book that they were talking about. Oh yeah, look, it sold for $30 raw. Except
So
it's that book plus 5 other books in that run. But Cover Price, their algorithm sometimes can't differentiate that. Oh, it was the Amazing Spider-Man number 7 or whatever, and but it didn't It didn't say, the listing on eBay said issues 1, and it also included 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So
that's why it sold for 30.
Here's
You
the
gotta be
example
careful.
I have for you, and I'm going to put it up right over here, guys, so
Sure.
you can take a look at it. Uncanny X-Men, Volume 1, number 154. That is a minor key, and it has the origin of the Summers family in it.
Yep.
Cover Price has it listed for $75 right now, and there is no way that book is that much, because if you go on eBay or anything like that right now and look up sold and completed listings, I think it's 10 or under.
Right.
So that's a prime example of
So
where
I
Cover Price is
bet if you
wrong.
go on eBay and find where that book sold for $75
It was part of a
months
lot
ago, it was part of a lot.
Let's
So
take
that's
a
why
look
it's very
while you're
important,
talking.
especially with the larger books or minor keys or things that are worth more than $10, really,
Yeah.
to go verify that so that you don't look like a jerk trying to ask for that.
See, and we
people are
do
like,
this
"What are you
in
doing?"
real time, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so real time sold as of this recording, May 2nd. That would be yesterday. Real time copy of Uncanny X-Men 154 sold for $7.67.
And of course, you have to take condition into account. But at the same time, that is a huge disparity.
Now
$75.
Here on May 1st is where a lot sold of 150 to 159 for 99 best offer.
There you go.
Yep.
So the Cover Price algorithm, or however they do it, however they draw their information from these sites such as eBay, sometimes it has trouble differentiating between a single comic sold and a lot of 5 that sold, or 10.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes, so it'll draw that over and you'll go, "Oh my God, I
struck it rich."
Yeah, man. I just I paid $10 for this thing at the comic book store, and hell, it's worth 75. But no, it's not. I'm sorry. Generally, what I'll track a big percentage. And for me, a lot, and I know I'm rambling, but this will be the last point I make. And for me, the last thing that I do is I determine how much I have in the book. If I buy, like if you guys went and if you guys go and look at that collection that I bought that's on our channel now, I told you what I paid for that book. You divide that by however many books that was. It's like, oh, okay, I might have 50 cents in each book. Well, if I sell it for $3, even though it's worth $7, I'm still
making
quadrupling my money, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
And somebody's getting a killer deal.
Yeah.
I don't have to make exactly $7 or $6 or $7 or $8 on that book that might be worth that. I'm going to sell it for $2 or $3. I'm going to move it so I can get the next lot. You see what I'm saying? So,
and I think that goes into it too, like with fair market value, where a lot of people expect to get a specific amount out of a book when in actuality, the fair market value kind of doesn't justify that.
Right. And you can, if you want to sit on the book for a year.
Yeah.
Somebody might buy it eventually for that.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about quick turnover while still making a good chunk of change, I'm happy, the customer's happy, boom, done.
Yeah, so that's something that we'll definitely get into later in the episode.
Yep.
Right. Good points. For me, I actually do a lot of the same. I'll check Cover Price because I have it connected to my CLZ. And yes, there have been mistakes in there. And I'll give them the credit now that if you report mistakes to them, they will go in and adjust it accordingly. So you just have to make sure you report it to their website, to whoever their contact
I just
is.
think people are still in awe about that uncanny 154.
Yeah, no.
I'm gonna
Most
go look
definitely.
through my short boxes real quick.
There you go.
So I use that. I do the same thing with eBay, but I try to throw out the highest priced and the lowest price. So if I've got a book
The
and it's got
outliers.
if it's got like 15 or so entries, I'll throw away the top one, I'll throw away the lower one, and I'll take the average of the what's in between.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I also do something a little bit different because I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, and I'll see a lot of the same book pop up, and I'll see the asking price, and this is where you have to have patience. You have to have patience and not FOMO, which will be covered in our next episode. You
Yeah.
know, so if you have patience and you can wait it out, you may be able to cut a deal or offer a little bit less than what they're asking for it. And sometimes a lot of sellers will take you on that offer if it's reasonable. So
Yeah.
that's how I really determine it, and I also determine my wallet status if I'm going to be able to afford that. So if I'm tracking a book, let's say I have that X-Men 101, if you can see it up there.
Yep.
I tracked that book for a while because it was just way out of the budget at that time. And it finally I got a copy at a top of my budget type of situation. And I pulled the trigger and I bought it, and I'm happy with it because it turned out to be a 7.0. And I just had to wait for it, but I could not touch that book for under $200 raw.
I've got a book that I'm waiting on for
Mm.
a reasonable price to come around, and that is Uncanny 221.
Oh yeah,
The first Mr.
Sinister.
The first Mr. Sinister. I'm not ready to pull the trigger on.
Yeah, I went and looked at my
80 yet.
stack. I told you I would, and I only have one copy of it. So
Oh.
I'm gonna keep that. It's not in very good shape, but it's
Yeah.
True. So that's what I also use to determine on fair market value, if it's fair market value to my wallet as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's fair to you?
What's fair to you?
What do you consider a fair price, right? So
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So next up, we have things to think about when we're buying and selling these books. So Tim, you want to start us off on that?
Yeah. So guys, the big thing to think about, there's really two. Taking emotion out of purchasing and selling, and like Sal and Wes just touched on a moment ago, determining a minimum dollar amount you are willing to take or to pay for. So first things first, let's take emotion out, right? Let's get in our Zen space and take emotion out of the purchases and the selling. That I think is a big issue. And Wes, you and I, Sal, we've all been victims of letting emotion kind of get the better of us with these books that you feel you have to have now. The fear of missing out, which again we'll cover in another episode. But or you're just so passionate about wanting to own a particular book, either a high dollar book or a low dollar book. It really doesn't matter. You kind of got to remove emotion from that. And you got to give a little bit of logical thinking when you're looking at these books, either on eBay or Shortboxed or Heritage or any of these other places. Yeah.
Or if that book is like the final book in a run that you're dying to get.
Yeah.
It's like that little gap that kills your OCD. It's like, you gotta close out the collection.
Well, there is a book, and it is a $12 book. It is $20.99 unlimited, number 12, I think, number 11 or 12. And I am taking emotion out of that because I'm seeing it for higher prices than what I think fair market value is, and I'm just not ready to pull the trigger on that yet to get it to finish off that run. I'll wait until it drops below $10 or something like that. And I'm not being frugal, but that goes into the next point. What is the price point you're willing to set for yourself to buy and or sell? So with purchasing books, like on eBay specifically, choose your maximum bid and go from there. Don't go above that. Don't get caught in with the snipers and all that other stuff, the people that swipe from underneath you, Wes.
Right.
Yeah, see, that's
Just
hard
put your
for
price in and
Tim,
go.
that's hard for me because I might be willing to spend $100 on that book.
Yeah,
But boy, wouldn't it be cool to get it for 40? And
that is very
I
true.
almost never will put my top bid in there, even though I'm willing to pay it.
See,
I
I
don't know,
won't put
man,
the
and
top bid in
I'll miss
either.
out on so many deals or good books that way, and it's not because I'm cheap per se. It's just
No.
part of it's the thrill of the hunt or the
Yeah.
thrill of the striking it. It's
See,
hard. It's
A
hard.
lot of people say that eBay takes out the thrill of the hunt, and I completely disagree with that because
Disagree.
eBay is the back issue collection. It's all right there. You've got a lot of people asking an exorbitant amount for things, but if you look and like here's a trick of the trade, guys. Whatever you're looking for, type it in misspelled, and you might find some cheaper auctions in there. Give that a shot. See how that works.
Tim
I've never
with
tried that.
Tim
Yeah.
with the hot take.
There you go.
Nice.
There's a hot tip for you, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, set your price amount. So Wes, if your price amount is $100, don't utilize that right away, but go all the way up to that as the auction goes through.
Well, yeah, of course.
And-
Yeah.
but don't go beyond your price point. And
Yeah.
definitely with selling books too. You got to be fair. If you're trying to sell an Uncanny 266 at an 8.5 for $300, you are asking double what that is worth.
Yeah.
Right. What any reasonable person would pay. An 8.5 Uncanny 266, which I have, is worth $140 fair market value. Now, if
Yours is a newsstand though.
that's right. But like you said, Wes, if I want to sit on that for a year, I think I could sell it at 140. But if I wanted to move it, I'd take 120, 115, maybe.
Yeah.
But it all depends on what I am comfortable with letting it go for,
Right.
or what
And
I'm
what you have in
comfortable with paying it. Exactly. But that's a personal gift.
Sure.
I'd never get rid of it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
That's
Just
a
as an
good
example.
example right
Mhm.
there. Yeah, but yeah, emotion and cost, ladies and gentlemen, those are the big keys. Take emotion out, set your standard, and don't deviate from that.
Yep.
Oh, and
100%.
also type in things misspelled on
That
eBay.
is,
So-
I'm going to try that. I'm absolutely going to try that.
That's
Oh man.
that's amazing. I am going to try that too.
Yeah.
yeah. Let me know how it
Plus-
works out.
Yeah. I
I'm
would,
gonna I want to add one point, and I want to say patience as well.
Yes, very
You
much
know?
so.
If you're hunting a book and it's just taking forever to get, don't go beyond your budget. Don't go beyond your budget for it. Just have the patience, and you'll eventually get it.
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
Patience stands firm, like your Uncanny 101. It's the Uncanny episode, ladies and gentlemen.
It is. Well,
Yeah, but I mean, just sit and wait. It will happen. It'll come eventually.
Yeah.
Yes,
my
indeed.
very first big purchase when I got back into collecting, it was a collection, my very first big purchase. And I'm glad I didn't walk away from it, but I overpaid slightly for it for sure, because there was a couple really cool key books in there.
Yeah.
So my excitement level, my emotions took over. Now I have since learned a lot since then, but one of the books in there was Secret Wars 8, and it ended up coming back as a 9.2. So I'm happy with that, but and I have since recouped that money and then some through certain means, but I came away with a lot of cool books that I kept, but it was a painful purchase. Like I was driving away going, what did I just do? The excitement of owning that Secret Wars 8 quickly went away when I was like, wow, I just emptied my checking account.
That was a mixture of FOMO and fair market value all at once.
Yeah. And well, you guys were talking about letting emotions take over.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I was, going with that. And it's like, yeah, that took over. And I did not have the patience that Sal was talking about, because he was in no hurry to sell the collection.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I felt I have to get it now, because now he's looked at his collection and he's going to start thinking to sell it to somebody else. And no, I need it, and yeah, so
yeah.
Let me add one want to add one more thing that I actually have done in the past for determining if it's fair market value to my budget. And this is actually a pretty good idea. I go through it, go through the logical steps of this. If you have a raw book that you want to be slabbed, how much on average you're thinking is it going to take you to be slabbed?
A
Plus
good
shipping.
price.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just average. What do you think the average
Well, I
is?
don't know. Wes gives me a better deal than
I
other
know.
people do. So
I'm going to say between 30 and 45 bucks to get a
Especially if
book
you get it
slabbed.
pressed. Yeah.
I could agree with that.
Well,
yeah.
with
And that's including shipping. That's including shipping
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Okay. So you're taking book A, you're sending it off, it's getting slabbed, and it's coming back to you. That's that whole cost right there, between 30 to 45, maybe a little bit more, depending on the book. But
Yeah.
you got to take that into consideration. And then you got to actually add the value of the book.
Mhm.
Then you got to add any value if there's any signatures as well on that book.
Yeah.
Because then also the price goes up. And I got a book I can show you guys. When we share some slabs, I'll show you one as well.
Yeah.
But
looking forward
if
to
I'm
it.
going to take this book, go to a con, have it signed, then have it slabbed and sent back to me, how much am I actually looking at spending? You know, that's a rhetorical question. You
Yeah.
don't need to answer it, but you got to think of that, calculate that in your head. Okay, I'll probably pay about $200. You know, maybe about 200, maybe 150.
Yeah.
But the seller has it on sale on his site for 75.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
there's
I
also
mean,
that cost ratio as well.
It's
Right.
the thing about, ladies and gentlemen, getting into something like this, slabbing. It's an investment that is the best way to look at it, either for your own personal value or to resell, and that's
Mhm.
exactly where fair market value comes into play.
Right. Exactly. All right. So why don't we show off some books that we have and talk about some fair market value? I think I will go last. So Wes, why don't you show us what you got?
I have 2 slabs, both of which, one of which I got.
Excuse me.
It's my first CBCS slab I've ever owned.
Mhm.
I bought this on a Facebook page or a Facebook group.
Now, wait a minute, Wes. I know a lot of people are probably have been looking this whole episode. What printing of Action Comics #1 is that behind you?
That's a
is the-
reprint.
That is the first printing from 1930.
And he's got it raw, ladies and gentlemen.
And I've got it raw, and it is like, it's probably like a 9.6.
It looks like a 9.
No, that's like I think that's from like 94 or something. It's something like that.
Fair enough. It's just
Yeah.
cool.
I just like the
noticed-
cover, and it's really neat.
Yeah.
And that one next to it is also a reprint. That's a JCPenney reprint,
Nice.
which we should do a show on one day. That would be actually really cool about what those
Nice.
are. But that's one of my favorite Fantastic Four covers ever. I actually used to get those in the mail. My mom, it was a birthday gift or a Christmas gift, got me a subscription, so I would get those in the mail all the time. And yeah, anyways.
Nice.
But yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, this one's my first CBCS book. It's Department of Truth, #1. I paid on a Facebook page, I can't remember which one now, $25 for this thing.
Nice.
I put a bid on for his minimum bid for 25. I was like, yep, I'll do 25 and see where it goes. 2 or 3 days later, no one else bid on it, and guess what? I won it.
Wow.
Now I paid a little shipping, so I've got about $35, $37 in total in this book.
Department of Truth is a great story. If you've never read it, I highly recommend it.
I read the first one because I've got it raw, and
Mhm.
then got into other things. So, but yeah, it did seem interesting.
I got the first trade if you want to read it, Wes.
Okay, I'll borrow it from you for sure, because I'd rather not
Definitely.
collect the whole run. But this one here currently has a value of, in a CGC, $57, give or take. Okay.
So CBCS, what you're looking, $10
CBCS was really hard to find.
Interesting.
I could not find any recent sales of that, even on eBay. I scrolled forever. But I know I paid $25 for it, so that's what a CBCS slab is worth, $25.
Right on.
No, so right off the bat, I'm probably in the good, right?
Yeah.
So by at least 10 or 15, $20, give or take. So that was pretty cool. but yeah, don't have a lot more to say about that one. All right,
Right
the
on.
next
That's fine.
one, the next one I'm very excited about, and I bought this from a buddy of mine here locally. His name's Jeff. I have bought quite a few books off of him in the past, and he always gives me killer deals. So Jeff, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Yeah, Jeff.
It is. This is a PGX book.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's a
Neil
7.5.
Adams.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a
That's a
7.5. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I paid $80 for this. I think that's what I paid him. Okay. So, CGC, I looked for this as well. PGX is really hard to find any kind of, they're just not out there very much. So
Right.
I couldn't find any recent solds for this one. But the recent solds for CGC were anywhere between $100 and $135.
See, and that's the old PGX labels too.
Right, and this is old. So this one is, I'm going to have this sent off to our presser, Tim. The guy,
Comic Spa.
Comic Spa.
Yep.
Right. And I'm going to have him. It can go for a good cleaning, a good press. It's never been pressed or cleaned. I'm 99% sure. And hopefully it'll come back minimum that. Hopefully it'll be a minimum of that.
Yeah.
Hopefully maybe even higher, depending on what he can do on it. And at that point, I'm really in the good.
Wow,
So,
that Joker looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a really cool book. I'm glad to own it. I won't sell this, but I am gonna definitely crack this so we can like screenshot this, and then we can when it comes back one day, we can say this is what it used to be, and this is what it is now.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
So those are my only two slabs to show tonight. What do you got there, Mr. Tim?
Well, I've got some awesome stuff. So for fair market value, I want to show this bad boy. This is the one that gives me the cold sweats because I watched this go up and down like a roller coaster. So that would be Spider-Man #1.
Nice. That's a good one.
That's your baby right there.
Oh, dude, as much as I love this book, it makes me sweat because the other day I think it was down to $70, and then recently it just shot up to 106. Right. So this thing gives me a good indicator of what the market is doing, and that'll go up and down, up and down, up and down.
I think there's something to be said about that. It's such a popular book.
Yeah,
you're right. That's kind of like looking at the S&P,
being traded or sold.
Yeah, this is a book I'll never get rid of, but it gives me the cold sweats sometimes when I have to watch it go up and down in price. And then the next one I'll show is I'll show one that's actually been pretty steady. I'm going to show another Spider-Man book, but this is Amazing Spider-Man #351. This has been rock solid at $92 pretty much for the past 2 months. And that's CBCS prices too. So I'm pretty excited about that. Where that Spider-Man #1 has gone up and down like blood pressure, this is held steady like my cholesterol. So that's what I got, ladies and gentlemen. Sal, do you have any books?
Yeah, I got 2 I want to show. This one I've got here is my Wolverine #1.
Man, that's
decided what I was doing it on. There we go.
There it is.
Coming in at 9.6 CGC. Now, according to cover price, this one is going for $249. Now, there's a little bit of a story behind this one. When I was hunting this book, I could not touch it for under $500, and that was anything from like a 9.0 up. So after a while, I kept seeing it was dropping a little bit, but it wasn't dropping enough. And I finally, when I purchased it, it was $350.
Wow.
So it's down to $249 now, but that was a while ago. I want to say that was a couple.
Were you able to find any CBCS recent solds with it?
No.
Kind of give us an idea of the difference of the two.
Right. I have not looked, so I don't know.
Well, either way, it's a killer book.
It is a killer book. So this was actually graded. It came out in 2020, and I'm trying to see when it was actually slabbed. I don't remember what it doesn't really say. No, this one doesn't say, unfortunately. Okay, but it's a book that came out in 2020, and anything over 9 was like $500 plus easy. Jeez. When it came out.
Man.
And I just couldn't touch it until I found that one for about $350. And I said, okay, and I did it. So You
That
know,
one's
it's
beautiful.
okay.
That one deserves a spot on your wall.
It does, and it has been in the rotation because I've
Yeah.
got this is actually a this is a Christopher variant, John Tyler Christopher variant. Okay, there's a
JTC.
JTC. We had him talked about him on the other show like
Yeah.
the other night. But there's other ones that I have like an Iron Man one. I think I got a Polaris one, and I got a
Nice.
one other one that I've had up on the wall before. So I'll cycle them through.
Yeah.
All right. My second book I want to show you. This is a CBCS book, and this is the Detective Comics 1027. Is it over
Nice.
here?
I
There
actually
we
have
go.
a
That's
copy of that.
And this is signed by Art Germ.
Ooh,
Nice.
nice.
Okay.
Golly.
You can see right there. So now I honestly forgot what I paid for this, but the fair market value right now I believe was 75.
75, yep.
75. I looked it up before the show. So as of today, it was 75. So this will be harder to calculate because when I bought this particular issue, I bought it with a lot. So there was a 10 Detective 1027 lot I got that was purchased, and a lot of them were signed. So I've got the one with Scarecrow, I've got the one with Batgirl, and I've got another one, all signed by different artists. But this was the only art term out of that lot, and I don't remember what I paid off the top of my head. So I'm just gonna let that one go. So it's 75 right now, and I'm okay. I'm happy with it because I love art germ stuff. I've got
I do
a ton of
too.
art germ. I got a ton of art germ stuff up on.
Yeah.
I had it up on my wall, but I've changed it out recently for Iron Man because that's coming soon. If you wanted to check out another show. But as always, where can we find great books with great covers, Tim?
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, head over to heroescornercomics.com, use the keyword CODEX at checkout to save 20%. All the books that we've shown today, all the new books, books of the week, things of that nature, you can find over at heroescornercomics.com. Louise, a great guy. Sal orders tons
I
of
do.
stuff from them, and
I
the
do.
keyword is CODEX. Save 20% at checkout, and they even have a CODEX bundle, 3 Heroes Corner Comics exclusives. All different, all unique, keyword CODEX.
Absolutely. They are great. Okay, actually, this wraps up our episode for fair market value. Do you guys have any closing lines? 1 or 2 quick bullet points you want to say before
Take
we close out?
emotion out. Set
emotion
your
out.
bar and
Yes.
type in things incorrectly on eBay.
Okay. How about you, Wes?
Cannot
What
wait
do you
to try
got?
that. No, I think everything's been said. That I think I've said everything that I need to say. Yeah. I mean, it's simple, guys. So
Yep.
it's simple but complicated at the same time. So, but there's only so
True.
much we can. Yeah. So
True. And all I have to say is patience and don't go out of your budget.
yeah.
That's what I have to say. All right. So this wraps up or concludes our episode of Slab for Fair Market Value. I am Sal. You can always find me on Codex, but you can also find me on YouTube on their Sal's Comic Corner. This guy to the left of me is Wes Rebel Scum. Down below is Tim the Terrible. You can find them both on the Codex station at any time. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a 9.8 day.
See you guys.